I fear nothing!
Hey, what's up guys? It's Jaded, and today I just wanted to go over some of the upcoming changes that are going to be happening with the next patch. They haven't released any notes yet, but Mike Morhaime recently released a big-ass blue post, and kind of wanted to go over just the state of the game, some ideas that have been bopping around in my head with drops and various mechanics in the game and stuff like that. So first I want to go over what Mike Morhaime put up. Basically, all of the whole thing was just saying thank you for the feedback, and we're updating the game still. We're working hard, basically is what they're saying. But there was a small little snippet that kind of went over the next patch, and it read, "You'll see additional improvements with patch 1.0.4. On the game balance front, this update will contain changes designed to further deliver the team's goals of promoting build diversity with buffs to many rarely used underpowered class abilities." Another topic we've seen actively discussed is the fact that better, more distinct legendary items are needed. We agree. Patch 1.0.4 will also include new and improved legendary items that are more interesting, more powerful, and more epic in ways you probably won't be expecting. So, the reason I want to talk about this is recently I was playing the game, and I don't play it a lot lately. I've cut back way more in the recent days or so. I just don't feel the need to log in and grind out the same areas and get frustrated with the game in the same ways that I do. So I haven't been playing much, but I did log in and I was farming some, and at the end of the session, I identified everything, and I got this really nice one-handed Witch Doctor weapon. It had mana regen, it had max mana, and it had a socket, and it was 1k DPS. So, it was a pretty damn good drop. At least somebody out there could take really good advantage of it. So instantly when I identified it, I had this feeling like it was just a really good feeling. Like, oh my god, I found something really good. And as time went on, I kind of realized that everything that I just did to get to this item wasn't worth it. It didn't feel satisfying, and it really had nothing to do with the drop itself. Sure, the drop is kind of boring. It's just a nice weapon with high DPS. Nothing special, but it's still worth a lot. I mean, it's worth somewhere around 30 mil minimum, so it's definitely worth a lot. So why did I feel like it wasn't worth it leading up to this point? And so it kind of worries me that before this happened, I was always like, they just need to fix the drops. The drops are the biggest problem. Drops. But after this happened, I kind of realized well, maybe there's more to the problem. I mean, obviously there's a lot of problems with Diablo, but maybe there's more that's kind of hindering my joy in this drop. And really what it comes down to is the frustration of killing stuff in the game, just killing mobs, just farm and loot, is way too high for no reason. And this is from champions, from affixes on champions and rares. It's from annoying mobs and both of those things working against you. The lack of challenge in the game, but the abundance of just stuff that should be challenging, but really is just either a gear check or working against build diversity. So Mike Morhaime did talk about build diversity being in the next patch, and so that's something that I'm kind of excited about. I really want to see more skills get used, the really weak stuff that's cool get boosted and buffed. But I'm worried that they won't go in and tweak the mobs themselves, because that's really the hindrance here. I had this discussion with a friend, which is the game would be 300 times better if it was just slaying mobs with no resistance, with no challenge. Just dumbing down everything so it's super smooth and easy to clear everything. The game would be so much more enjoyable. And I realize a lot of people want challenge in a game, and I do too, absolutely. I'm not saying that we should remove challenge in video games or something. I'm just saying if the game was just breeze through it, it would just feel infinitely better than it does now, because you're just hitting these walls of, okay, everything's smooth, like I'm killing all these mobs with no problem without dying, and then all of a sudden you reach a pack of mobs and they have shielding and they burrow, and it's the most frustrating thing ever to go up against. I've really noticed this playing Weapon Throw Barb, playing any glass cannon style of character in this game. It's just endless frustration, and I think this was the hardest balance for them. Because when they released the game, they didn't want it to be a breeze. They wanted Inferno to be something, I would guess they wanted it to be something special, maybe even take longer than it already did to complete and to clear. So I get the impression that they had this really strong dilemma, like, do we make it super easy to sort of clear this content and people to have an enjoyable experience, or do we put in these sort of difficult mechanics in the game? Blizzard's always smart with game design. Like, they're always smart. They always have a reason that they do something. And I just can't imagine that they've tested the mob mechanics enough before they released the game, and even recently. Things like phase beasts. If you get phase beasts with fast on it, it is insanely hard to deal with. In fact, it's almost impossible. You have to skip it sometimes. So, combine it with something else like shielding or whatever. So all I'm saying is I hope that they don't just look at drops and build diversity, but they tweak some of the mobs. Some of the mobs AI, it just needs to be tweaked. But I mean, it's kind of an interesting point. Like, if you were releasing this game and you want Inferno to be challenging, how do you make it challenging without making it frustrating? Because, like, there's not a lot of ways in the game currently where there is challenge, like skillful stuff that you can do. And maybe that's just the nature of the game they created. So it comes down to either making the content like easy and just you breeze through it, or making it frustrating. Currently it weighs more towards frustrating. And another big area that I hope gets addressed in some way is the fact that co-op has kind of gone to the wayside, and they've addressed it with, the mob damage getting removed, which was good, but still there's no reason for a glass cannon to pick up a friend or something. Like, if you're playing a more tanky class, absolutely play with friend. But the problem you have there is, if you're playing a tanky class, it's not efficient to farm solo, so you kind of rely on other people. So it's this balance you have to have for yourself. Like, do you want to be tanky and tank for other people? Or do you want to be glass cannon and be able to farm efficiently? Obviously there's the whirlwind spec for barbs now that's vastly popular, and it kind of does everything, right? It does the DPS well. You can tank relatively efficient if your gear is good enough. But for a lot of other classes, they don't have that option. So, anyways, I hope that came clear. I like whenever I do one of these commentaries, I have all these thoughts in my head that sound perfectly fine, and then I say them, and it just comes out dumber than ever, and I just forget something, and it sounds terrible, or it's conveyed completely wrong. So when the patch comes out, I'll be covering it. I'll be doing maybe my thoughts on the patch after playing it for a while. Maybe I'll do some more guides if build diversity is like a real thing, and checking out other specs and things like that for all the classes. A lot of my friends have quit, so maybe I'll just grab their gear and play around with those classes. So I don't know yet, but we'll have to see when that patch hits. Anyways, guys, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.